Reddit, what's the best, or worst, last minute gift you've ever given or received? This was probably 22 years ago. We were done unwrapping gifts, and to be perfectly honest I was a little bummed out. Sister had a huge stack of gifts. I had hardly anything, and as any 10-12 year old you'd be a little bummed out, right? So it was about 10 or so in the morning, as we were cleaning up. I sat there thinking hard as to how I might have been a bad boy that year. Wasn't long after all heck broke loose. Dogs started barking, and some dude was out in a Santa suit driving a skidoo around the house. We lived out in the country, so lots of open space. Everyone acted all surprised, but mom and dad were in on it. They had bought me an old Safari 377 and stashed it down at my neighbor's. On Christmas morning, the neighbor dressed up as Santa Claus, drove it down the side of a road a couple kms to get it to our place. Hands down most memorable last minute gift I ever received. I used to get hand-me-down consoles from my cousins growing up, but one year I got a new copy of Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation from an aunt who was making a stop by our house and didn't want to come empty-handed at Christmas. One problem, I didn't have a PlayStation. My parents used to get the Sunday paper, and every week I would stalk the ads and check out the PlayStation. Its price had changed from $150 to $129, and I suddenly got it in my mind that I could do $129. I cleared driveways, mowed lawns, walked pets, watched kids, watered flowers, weeded gardens, fixed bikes, planted trees, mulched beds, and saved my way to the $129 PlayStation. I walked into the store with exact change, went home, plugged in FF7 and proceeded to have an spiritual experience playing that game. I still remember the sound and feeling of that opening sequence. I didn't even know what an RPG was. Best present ever. For my birthday one year my big present was a disposable emergency rain poncho. A hedgehog exercise wheel. I do not own a hedgehog. A few years ago my so and I were finally in a suitable position to get a dog. So for her birthday I got her a book on dog care. I didn't realize that she would think this meant I also had a dog hiding, ready, in waiting. I did not. Disappointment was large. I have to. In high school, an older friend and I were doing a gift exchange. We were keeping it under $10. I got her a very pretty glass Christmas tree that had some candy in it. She gave me a book, a smut novel, that had her mom's name written on the inside cover, but poorly scribbled out. I can understand if she didn't have the money, but the whole gift exchange and budget were her idea. The other one was from my sister-in-law. She gave me a Wii Motion Plus controller several years ago. Not a crappy gift on its own, but her reasoning makes it a crappy gift. We had mentioned months before Christmas that we might give her our Wii because theirs was broken and we never played ours. Then Skyward Sword came out. We got cracked out on that and decided to keep the Wii. Christmas rolls around and normally we got small, inexpensive gifts from them. So when I opened a $50 plus controller, I was shocked. Grateful, but shocked. Fast forward a few weeks and she brings up the Wii. We told her that we were into Skyward Sword and had decided to keep it. She replied with, "Ugh, dude, if I knew you were going to keep it, I wouldn't have gotten you the Wii controller. I only bought that because I thought I was getting it back." I didn't know my little cousin was coming over for Christmas until I was already on my way. Everything was closed but Walgreens. Went in and saw a Sega handheld that had 30 Genesis games on it like Sonic. It was $20 and he loved it, but his parents got mad because he didn't like their stuff and played with my gift all day. In my family, a certain apple slicer has been regifted 3 times over the span of 10 years. It's like they wait until they think everyone's forgotten. About 10 years ago, my great aunt gave me a hairbrush set containing a mirror, a comb, a large paddle brush and one of those round barrel brushes. Only, when I received it, it was missing the round barrel brush. I know that the brush was in the original set and therefore had been taken out, because I was with my great aunt when she won it at a Christmas raffle a couple of days before. I have received a bag of ketchup. Not some silly little condiment pack, but a 5-pound commercial bag of ketchup. You would not believe how satisfying it is to hug and cuddle with that much ketchup. Secret Santa gift exchange at school. Everyone else got cool stuff or beautiful handmade pieces of art. I got a small box of cut construction paper from the teacher. Merry Christmas, here's a box of trash. I didn't have any time or cash, so I bought a $2 photo album and photoshopped his face to a bunch of stock photos I found online. Made him laugh for hours. I saw a recipe on Pinterest for a chocolate cake in the jar and decided to make it. Mine looked like I had shat in the jar. Since it was last minute and Secret Santa, I had to go with it. Needless to say that the poop jar became the joke of the night. I learned that day never to trust Pinterest or my baking skills again. Last Christmas my husband procrastinated until 2 days before Christmas, and because he hates trying to figure out gifts and shopping, he just decided taking me on a surprise trip to New York was easiest. I loved it, but I totally know his thought process and how it happened. He thinks he's slick. Ugh. Last year my husband and I were out buying groceries on Christmas Eve and he said he had to make another stop and I should wait in the car. He came back out with a travel mug and just said, "There you go. Merry Christmas" to me. When I was around 8 or 9 I had a sneaking suspicion Santa Claus wasn't real and I decided to test it. The months leading up to Christmas my mom kept asking me what I was planning to ask from the big red guy and I always answered, "I can't think of anything I want to ask for." This kept up all the way to Christmas Eve, and as I was being tucked in that night I said, "I've decided what I want Santa to bring me, clay." My mom started telling me that Santa had already left the North Pole and it might be too late. I was having none of that and said, "It's something small. Santa can do it." Well, Christmas morning comes along and I wake up to an abundance of beautiful, colorful clay. I asked my mom about it a few years back and she confessed she stayed up all night making that clay from an online homemade recipe. I ended up believing in Santa Claus way longer than any kid should have, thanks to my amazing mom. Not really a last minute gift situation, but rather a gifting experience. I was at a dinner party with some of my dad's friends at the time. I was probably early high school age. Everyone was an adult except for me, and the hosts had arranged a secret Santa exchange. I opened my gift, which was a very nice bath set. The person who had gotten me definitely had gone over budget. A woman at the party, maybe 40 years old, opened her gift, which was a small coffee maker. She spent the rest of the night pressuring me in front of everyone to trade with her because she didn't like her gift. I felt so bad. I didn't know who had gotten her that gift, but I'm sure they knew she didn't appreciate it. I very proudly and with great ceremony presented my mom with a clumsily wrapped box of tampons, which I'd taken from her bathroom cabinet, in front of all her friends. A 4-year-old nude fig had not really gotten the hang of presents yet. 30-year-old nude fig is still living it down. You gave her the gift of a great story. My university class is very small, and last year we did a secret Santa. I got a half-empty pouch of tobacco. I would have honestly been happier receiving nothing. My brother once owed me $300. For Christmas that year my mom gave me $300 to erase my brother's debt. Guess who also got $300? My brother. He essentially got $600 for Christmas and I got money that was already mine. Sounds more like your mom gave you $300 for Christmas, and he still owes you $300 and oh look, he just got $300 from your mom so he could pay you back. That or fork over another $300, mom. My grandma is the worst person to buy for. She's kinda stubborn about doing things the old, hard way, even with Hermes. She complains every year that we get her things every year because she's trying to get rid of so much stuff in her house. It's unselfish, but still annoying because come on lady, it's Christmas. Anyway, a couple years ago I was at Target, and they had one of those monthly planner calendars for $1 that had Mickey and Minnie Mouse on it. I know she loves Mickey Mouse so I picked it up on a whim. I figured, dumb gift right? It's a calendar. Turns out she loved IT. So the next year I got her a candle and a calendar, and the year after that, and the year after that. Every single year since she tells me I don't want you buying me tons of stuff. I have too much stuff, except for my calendar. That's the gift I look forward to every year. My grandmother is 93 and has a house full of the things a 93-year-old widow has plenty of and doesn't need anymore. She gets cheese straws, saltwater taffy, and other consumable things that you don't have to find a permanent place for, and loves them. Food is great for people like that. One Christmas a couple years back my half-brother and his girlfriend had spent the night. Christmas morning comes and his girlfriend is incredibly excited. My parents and I open our presents first, then she opens hers. My brother had gotten her some bits and bobs, but the one thing I do remember is that he got her this gorgeous silver necklace. My brother opens his presents last, and as we're about to disperse, his girlfriend tells us to wait and hands my brother a small wrapped box. He unwraps it and it's this small leather thing, what you'd usually put jewelry in. My brother opens it and he's just stunned. Inside there was a pregnancy test, a positive pregnancy test. His girlfriend was giddy. Now, the frick up lies with the fact that my brother is infertile. His testicles are plastic. When he was 19 he had testicular cancer and had to have his testicles removed. My brother also doesn't like talking about that period in his life, for obvious and other reasons. So after over a year of dating he'd still neglected to tell his girlfriend about his artificial nuts. He lays the box on the ground and turns to his girlfriend and goes, "Babe, what the frick is this?" And his girlfriend's face immediately drops. She rushes to his side and goes, "We're gonna have a baby." At this point my brother's face is red and he pulls away from her and then gets up and leaves. She turns to us and goes, "What's his problem?" My dad then, quite aggressively, goes, "He can't have children because his testicles are artificial." The girlfriend goes as white as a sheet. "They're what? Plastic? He had cancer and they were removed. He can't have kids." I'd say you could cut the awkward tension with a knife, but it was so thick you'd need something a lot sharper. My mom can't look the girl in the eye and my dad looks like he's about to snap. She rushes off into the kitchen after my brother, and within seconds there's just shouting. She vehemently denied cheating on my brother and tried to pass it off as some sort of miracle, though he wasn't having any of it. He took the necklace off of her and she went upstairs to grab her things and left without saying goodbye. I haven't seen her since. The reason I'm telling this story is because a year later my brother gave the necklace to his new girlfriend as a present. The cheap bastard. My buddy baked me a cake one time, but with one piece missing because he had to make sure it was good. Like, I knew he was stoned and couldn't help it, but it was still a pretty endearing bro on bro gesture. ShamWow towels. Sorry mom. I was in a train coming back from vacation when I realized it's my dad's birthday. Bought him a pack of Oreo cookies from a vending machine. I still feel bad about this. This was around when I was 13 or 14 in 1998 or 99. Growing up I knew the household spending limit for Christmas was $150 per kid. Only 2 of us. But I really wanted a new computer. I begged and pleaded for one and my parents would joke and tell me no. Christmas morning came, I walk out of my bedroom and see a huge gateway box. I run to it to waste no time in setting it up. But it's empty. My parents laugh at my disappointment. I didn't expect a computer because I knew they were way past the budget, but I was holding out hope. After my parents got me with the 30 seconds of laughing, they told me they really got me a computer. It's out of the car but I have to go get it. Best Christmas present ever, but horrible way to give it. I usually go with gift cards for giving last minute gifts. It's weird, I feel bad and unthoughtful about giving someone a gift card, but I like receiving them a lot. My brother owed me $40. Guess what I got for Christmas? $40. Hey, at least he paid you back. My sister once gave my wife an expired Bed Bath & Beyond coupon for Christmas. My grandmother gave me a pineapple wrapped in newspaper. She told me she didn't use real gift wrap because it would just take away from the value of the real gift. That same year my brother got a Discman from her. She had favorites. I don't get how people can do this in all good conscience. At least my grandma hates us all equally, so none of us get gifts. My girlfriend found a barely used shoe polish kit in the closet and wrapped it and played it off as a new purchase. It had originally been gifted to me by my ex, and the original birthday note was still tucked in the box. I had one that started as worst but ended as best. An envelope with no card in it, but rather $10 worth of scratch-off lottery tickets, but then one of them won me $100. For my sisters and my birthday last year, our aunt bought us a 6-pound bag of frozen meatballs. They were wrapped in the Trader Joe's bag. We were expected to share them. She told us that our dad, piece of garbage, said we liked them. We really had no opinion on meatballs, but these things looked gross. Yeah, not the dream gift of 2 teenage girls. My brother got me those fluffy car dice for my 18th birthday. They were so cheap and nasty, half the dots were already missing. On Christmas Eve, I realized I hadn't gotten a gift for my niece, 15. So I went to Barnes & Noble and bought Stephen Hawking's book The Universe in a Nutshell. I selected that book because last holiday Thanksgiving, my niece kept going on about how black holes prove God doesn't exist, based on this one episode she saw on the Discovery Channel. I figured if she was going to rant about theoretical physics, it'd be great if she actually knew what she was talking about. I got grief from my mom and uncle because I spent too much on the present because 1. I could have gotten it cheaper on Amazon if I'd thought to buy it earlier, and 2. She doesn't deserve a $40 gift. Nobody likes my niece because she is loud, opinionated, and disrespectful to elders. My niece loved my gift and always had that book with her for the next 6 months. One of my friends borrowed a pair of socks from me, then gave them back 2 years later as a gift on Christmas. I discovered Easter Bunny wasn't real when my dad handed my Easter eggs to me in a plastic shopping bag one year, with the receipt still in the bag. I discovered Santa wasn't real when Christmas morning the stockings were empty and the gifts weren't under the tree. Quoting my grandmother, "Oh done, I forgot to put out the presents." Okay, I had the perfect gift for the perfect kid. A couple of years ago I won a kid's bike in a raffle. It was one with everything. Flying handlebars, big seat and a custom rainbow color paint job. So I have this kid's bike in my trunk. And a lot of people asked me, creeped out, "You don't have children. Why do you have a kid's bike in your trunk?" And I told him the story. 2 years passed and a friend of mine called and told me a friend of her had a fire in their flat. And almost everything burned down the day just before the kid's birthday, and it was a Sunday. Normally shops are closed on Sunday where I live, but he remembered I had a pristine child bike in my trunk. So I drove to the hotel where the family was staying and gifted that little girl the bicycle, and boy, I will never forget the eyes of joy when she first rode that bike like she just won $1 million. That's almost 10 years ago. Thanks for the reminder. She showed up with a bottle of Jigger and a box of condoms. Grandma knows how to party. One of my closest friend offered me a clock radio, but a very special one. It is a space shuttle with a timer, NASA style. And guess what? After the countdown, the space shuttle randomly fly in my bedroom. I love it, and my son not really. Not me, but hard to beat this one. Back in 1950s, my father and his brother were kids, and poor. Their grandfather gave one brother something shiny and awesome and new. I don't recall what. I imagine an airplane. My father got a small wooden box containing a hard-boiled egg and a used, worthless, stamp. Thus a family legend was born. Peas. Yes, the grandfather was not nice. You have been visited by the Pope Doggo. Comment 4 times and he will bless you with lots of good luck. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.